There are lots of styles of portrait, but for everyday life, the humble mugshot is the most important. Whether you're talking to friends on Facebook, searching for a new partner on a dating site, or making a new business contact on LinkedIn, it's your head and shoulders profile portrait that everyone sees first. A good mugshot will help you maximise your chances of online success. But shooting these plain vanilla portraits is not as easy as it seems. Essentially, there are two key areas that you need to think about for successful headshots. First, you need to get the lighting right, and then you need to sort out the background. So let's start with the lighting. Using flash will always give you much more control over the lighting and allow you to get the same results in almost any location. So for mugshots, use a flash gun rather than ambient light. But before we start setting up the flash, I need to do a quick test shot to make sure that I'm not going to record any ambient light. So in manual mode and with an ISO of 100, I'm going to set the shutter speed to 1/200th of a second, as this is the fastest that will work with these radio triggers. I then set an aperture of f5.6 and take a test shot. The image is completely dark, so that's perfect. But if I was shooting in a brighter room and I could see the subject clearly in the image, I would reduce the aperture to f8 or even smaller until I'd killed the effect of the ambient light. To give you complete control over the lighting in your headshots, you'll need a way to fire the flash off camera. Now there are several ways to do this, from a simple dedicated flash cord through to using Nikon's own creative lighting system. I'm going to use these Harnell radio triggers, which at around £50 aren't much more than an off-camera cord, but give you much more freedom to move around wire-free without a cord between the flash and the camera. These radio triggers will work with almost any flash gun, but you do have to have a model that lets you set the flash power manually. Now I'm ready to start setting up the lighting. Now one of the most common problems with using flash guns as your light source is that they give a harsh, unflattering light, because all of the light comes from a very small area. So we need a way to soften the light by increasing the size of the light source. There are plenty of accessories available to help you do this, including various sized softboxes to umbrellas. But no matter which type of diffuser, there's one really important thing that you need to remember. It's the apparent size of the flash from the subject that's important. So to make the light softer, you need to get the flash as close to the subject as possible. It might sound counterintuitive, but even with a softbox or umbrella, the nearer the flash is to the subject, the less harsh the light will be. Using a small softbox like this one from LumiQuest, I need to position it as close to the sitter as possible to get the soft light that I need for a flattering, evenly lit portrait. And then set the flash to one of its lowest power settings. You need to do your own test shots, but I'm going to use 1/16th power. And I'm also going to position this reflector to the opposite side of the subject, and also get the model to hold another underneath their face to lighten the shadows a little. I can then take a quick test shot to check the exposure to see if the flash power I've chosen is okay. Now with the basic lighting now set up, there are plenty of ways to liven up your headshots. Using a coloured background can really brighten up your headshots. Now you might find a suitable curtain or painted wall that you can use, but if not, you need to create your own background. This doesn't have to be anything expensive or sophisticated though. A large piece of coloured card or cloth will work just as well as an expensive background material. For a more sophisticated setup, you can also add an extra flash. Now this can either be positioned behind the subject and lighting the background, or pointing back towards the camera to add a hairline. And for either technique, you'll get better results by using a snoot to direct all of the light onto a small area and avoid the light spilling out onto other parts of the subject or the background. Now you can buy a snoot from companies such as Interfit or Rogue, but you can easily make your own by using a small piece of black card wrapped around the flash head like this. So that's the basics of getting professional looking headshots using basic kit. But remember that you'll need to fine tune your lighting and exposure for your own setup and flash guns. But don't be afraid to experiment once you've mastered the basic lighting setup.